The mighty Mekong River. Nothing else can quite demand the same respect as this incredible body of water. I've picked it up near the border of Ubon, Ratchathani, deep in the east of Thailand. This really is where the wild things are. In the centre of Khonkaen National Park, I came across this stunning waterfall which has carved its way through the solid stone for thousands of years. The water cascades down to fresh pools of water full of fish and preserved vegetation. This is Thailand, natural, untouched.
We're here at Nam Tok Sangjang in Ubon, Ratchathani. It's also called the moonlight waterfall because during the day the sunlight makes it look like the moonlight shining on the rocks. I cannot believe that I get to cook this chicken curry, a gang om, in front of such a magnificent sight. Okay, really simple ingredients. We actually start this with a paste and it's unlike any other curry paste that I've seen. We have some lemongrass just cut into pieces and also some red shallot. But firstly, we'll just give the lemongrass, the hardest one, a bit of a pound. And then in go the red shallots.
Sweetness will develop in shallots when you pound them in a mortar and pestle. When you blend shallots or onions in a food processor, they can become quite sour. If you are going to process them, just don't do it too long. If you can't find red shallots, brown shallots will work just fine. Brown shallots are also just a little bit more affordable.
Okay, so they're about half crushed at this point. Some spring onions, but only the bulb, only the head of the spring onion goes in. And a mixture of little chilies. Green, yellow, red, lovely colours. And it's important when you're making this not to crush it into a fine paste. It still has to have a little bit of fibrous texture to it.
Chilies in Thailand are one of the most staple ingredients. They grow everywhere. There are so many varieties and they're not all hot. Remember that chilies also have a unique flavour. I know that some people leave out chilies as they're worried about the dish being too hot. However, by avoiding them, you will lose the flavour that they provide. I suggest finding some mild chilies if you are worried about the heat.
Okay, that's done. Now we need to heat up our wok. And the first thing we're going to do is fry this paste in just a small amount of oil, about 1 tablespoon. Because these ingredients are quite delicate, don't fry them too long, don't brown them. Just let the aromatic characteristics come out and allow the flavour to come out. Then we add this chicken. This is a corn-fed chicken from the farm, and the yellow colour in the skin is just so beautiful and adds a lovely flavour to the dish. Isn't that waterfall just so beautiful? Incredible sound behind me. With the chicken, we've also cut this on the bone. So taken the legs and just taken straight through, adds a lot of extra flavour. and a little bit of gelatinous quality to the curry as well. Okay, after sealing the chicken, add some water, just enough to cover the chicken. And then we add the hard vegetables. I've got some fresh pumpkin here and some Thai eggplants cut into quarters. Nice and chunky, nice and rustic. For the next few minutes, we let those vegetables cook and enjoy the waterfall. To add a little bit of sweetness to this soup, we add some sugar. But in Isaan region, they don't use a lot of sweetness, so only add a small touch. Then we add some snow beans picked off the vine, cut into chunks. Some ground toasted rice. This is a really unique addition to this curry. And then a really big kick of fresh herbs, lots of it, really fresh basil and dill. Now in this region of Thailand, dill is a really commonly eaten herb. Incredible, amazing flavour. Give that a quick stir and then finish it off with some fish sauce, just to add that saltiness. Smells are absolutely amazing. Quick taste. Touch more fish sauce. The dill, so fragrant, really aromatic. Actually adds its own sweetness as well, the dill. Perfect, love it. Gang on, a chicken curry with dill and fresh basil, cooked right here in front of the moonlight waterfalls.
After the break, I continue my journey around Ubon Ratchathani and I cook a very traditional steamed whole fish with fresh, fragrant vegetables.
I'm standing here on the edge of this cliff overlooking the mighty Mekong River, and just on the other side of this river is Lao. I'm going to cook a dish next using a fish from this Mekong River. Would you believe, just driving down the road here in Ubon Ratchathani, we came across this, which is a typical hut where one of the farmers would lay down and escape the midday sun while they're picking the rice.
We all should take a note out of the book on farming practices from Thai people. The vegetation and rice plants, they grow in harmony with the environment, and every available piece of land is used.
So I thought this would be the ideal location to do the next dish, pla nang nung pak. And this is using the fish that is caught only in the Mekong River. This one here, pla nang. It's almost like a catfish, very firm and white in texture. Something like rockling or even a sea perch would be perfect. We're going to steam this fish with some fresh vegetables. So the best thing to do is to cut the fish, score the side of it, and then cut it in half. And if it is still too large, you can take it into one other piece. Okay, the vegetables we've got today are really traditional for this area. These small white flowers are called Duncan, and they just fall from the tree. A few of those in the bowl, some Chinese cabbage, a little bit of fresh baby bamboo, some oyster mushrooms, and this one here, the morning glory. Just break those in half and put those in the bowl. With the fish, very, very simple. Just place the pieces of fish on top of the vegetables and then put that into the steamer. So we'll just light the gas, and then the last thing I want to put on here is just this baby galangal. Really interesting. Haven't seen it before. Tastes the same but very tender, very easy to eat. Put some fresh galangal on top, add some flavour to the fish. We give that about 8 minutes until the fish is just falling off the bone. While that's cooking, we're going to make a little dipping sauce to go with it. Firstly, we've got some dried chilli, quite a lot of chilli, lots of spice. Some sugar, about 1.5 teaspoons, and then we've got some tamarind. Tamarind goes in, and then mix those together just to start to dissolve the sugar. Some fresh chopped garlic, and some ground toasted rice. And then to balance with the sugar and the tamarind, some fish sauce to add something salty. A little bit more fish sauce. The great thing about this dish is the simplicity of the fish and the simplicity of the vegetables, they speak for themselves. And the gel sauce really gives it that kick. And that's the ideal way to eat this sort of dish. So we'll just check the fish. A good guide to check fish is to take the tip of the knife and just press down gently in the thickest part of the fish. If it feels firm, it's generally cooked. And you can also see the juices that come out of the fish are very clear, which this one is. The fish is cooked beautifully, and all of the vegetables are still slightly firm and still have their colour. Goes perfect with the gel sauce. Put this into a smaller dish. And there you have it, a simple dish using a local river fish. Pla nang nung pak.
Ubon Ratchathani is a place of serenity. Rice fields, waterfalls, roadside shops, amazing temples, and strong Buddhist traditions. This is a place to travel at a slow pace, to enjoy nature at its most unspoilt, experience ceremonies and many local fine arts. However, it was time for me to have a change of pace. So I thought I would travel by train 4 hours northwest to one of the 4 biggest cities in the Isaan region. The industrial centre of Khonkaen is a city that has thrived on industry and education. Khonkaen is built along the main highway that runs directly to the Thai-Lao Friendship Bridge. The city is easily accessible by train or plane, with flights running daily to the local airport from Bangkok. It is home to the biggest university in the northeast, with over 25,000 students attending. Many tourists enjoy coming to Khonkaen as it's a very central location with many wonderful hotels, resorts and retreats. There is also an amazing hospitality industry with a variety of bars and restaurants showcasing the best of local cuisine. The northeastern part of Thailand is where you will start to see more beef dishes on the menu. The meat is from Brahm cattle and it's the most popular type of beef in Thailand, and Khonkaen is a major contributor to the beef industry. After the break, I cook a fiery dish using fresh beef grown right here in Khonkaen, and I prepare a local Isaan noodle soup with snakehead fish.
Nam ya gang pa. This is the dish we're doing here in Khonkaen. What a beautiful day. And this is a really delicious, healthy dish using snakehead fish. It's a really healthy dish, no coconut milk, lots of fresh herbs, lots of vibrance. Love this dish. Let's get started. So what we're going to do is start with some cold water, and then we're going to infuse the initial flavors. Cold water is always the best way to start. If you put ingredients into hot water, it seals them instantly and then it won't extract it properly. Firstly, we put in some lemongrass, some whole garlic cloves, and then some small red Thai shallots. We've got some dried chili here, large and small, two different flavors, one slightly more smoky, the other one a little hotter. Some galangal, fresh galangal. And then grachai. Grachai is a rhizome. It has a slight ginseng flavor. Absolutely imperative that this is in this dish. We put those in, and then we give those about 8 minutes until it starts to boil. Now that all the flavour has come out into that stock, it's time to add the fish. Now this fish was just chosen this morning from the market, so fresh. And the snakehead fish, it's also a mud fish, and it adds so much flavour to this. Cook it whole on the bone for about 9 minutes, and once it's done, just strip the flesh from the bone. The flesh is just starting to flake from the bone. Perfect time to take the fish out very gently and just into a bowl and let that cool down lightly. There we go. And while that's cooling down, we take the other ingredients from the pot and leave the stock in the pot and then put it into a mortar and pestle so we can pound it up into a paste. Okay, keeping the stock in the pot, just pound these into a paste. Okay, a little bit of hard work, but it's so worth the effort. Don't use a blender. It doesn't do the dish justice at all. With the fish, just peel off the skin and then take those big chunks of flesh away from the bone and make sure you don't have any of the pin bones in there either, and then put that into there and then pound that into the mixture as well. Okay, fish has been pounded as well, and we've got a nice smooth paste in there. Okay, then what we need to do is take this paste and add it back into our stock. Okay, a few more ingredients just to add some extra flavour. We've got some kaffir lime leaves and some red chilies, and then a mixture of baby spring onions and sawtooth coriander. And then those final flavours that just give it those high notes. Some sugar, white sugar is perfect, and some fish sauce, about 3 tablespoons. We have the Khonkaen noodles. Make sure you get some of the chili and the spring onions and the kaffir lime and put it all on there. Amazing flavours. To finish it off, we put on some bean shoots, some baby spring onions, a little bit of Thai basil, some snake beans, and then some pickled cabbage. Mix that together and it is absolutely incredible. A classic dish right here in Khonkaen. We have Khonkaen gang pa. It's amazing to think that so far northeast into Thailand is such a big city in Khonkaen. This area is also well known for its beef production, and the dish we're going to cook today is pad pet nua with the pickled bamboo. The beef is so tender, it's incredible. What's most important is this dish is actually, whilst it's using red curry paste, is actually a stir fry. So make sure you cut the beef into thin strips. I've got everything rushing by me, from kids on school, taxis, motorbikes, people at work, people doing their shopping. Great, okay. We get the wok nice and hot. You need extreme heat when you're doing a stir fry, otherwise what happens is the juice inside the meat starts to come out and then you create yourself a stew. Okay, so the wok's really hot. A small amount of oil, about 2 tablespoons. And a good tip for when you're cooking meat is have room temperature meat. Even though it's a stir fry, try not to stir it straight away. When the meat goes in, the pan can chill slightly, so just give it a minute before you give it its first stir. Okay, red curry paste, about 1.5 tablespoons, nice and hot. The beef is so tender, you don't want to overcook it, so make sure you cook really quickly. Some kaffir lime leaves go in, and then the pickled bamboo. The pickled bamboo is nice and crunchy, but it also has a beautiful sour flavour. Complements the beef perfectly. The beef is now cooked medium. Perfect time to add the last ingredients. A small amount of sugar, about 2 teaspoons. Some fish sauce. Some bird's eye chilies chopped in half, about 4 chilies. And then we finish it off with holy basil. Lots of holy basil. Okay, and we're done. Serve that in a bowl. Lots of it. Best eaten with jasmine rice. Spicy, aromatic, fresh and colourful. Really great dish. We finish that off with a few sprigs of holy basil and it's done. In Khonkaen, you have to come here. Try the food, it's incredible. Pad pet nua, or a stir-fried beef in red curry paste, pickled bamboo and holy basil.
On next week's episode, I cook a salt-crusted river fish, travel to the Great Lotus Lakes in the northeast, and I cook a special ginger stir-fry in the French-inspired streets with a local delicacy.
Wow.